Go on. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Life After College Meeting the Deadlines workshop here hosted at Undocumented Student Services by EOP. Just a quick introduction. I'm Camila Castañeda Calzada. I'm a fourth year undergrad here studying environmental science and the programming intern for USS.
And my name is Juan Ruiz, second year student in the Latin American Latino Studies PhD program.
Just a brief overview on what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about requirements for the grad school application, a brief timeline on the application process, and then some resources.
So we covered a little bit about this last seminar on the application requirements, where every program you apply to will have an application of its own. They will be relatively similar between one program and the other, but it's the kind of thing that you want to start ahead of time so that you can see the formulation of the application, the sort of small things that divide into probably several different sections. And in these applications, the components will be mostly the same. You will have to submit transcripts that are unofficial up until the point when you get admitted to the program and are offered a financial aid package and a date for registering or delivering your statement of intent to register. So unofficial transcripts will suffice. Then we have the personal statement and the statement of purpose, which are two opportunities to showcase your writing abilities. We'll go more into these details in this webinar and on how to go about requesting your letters of recommendation and where you can find help in completing your resume and CV. So the application form will be a little bit different than the undergraduate application, but will also incorporate the basic of your date of birth, your name, your mailing address, and these things are intricate and take time. So that's why we recommend to start up your applications ahead of time, even though your components themselves will have to be tailored differently from one application to the other. These little intricate details that you have to provide in the application, as you did when you were an undergrad, can be time consuming. Your official transcripts, as we said, will have to be delivered to that institution where you will deliver your statement of intent to register. So after you've been admitted, you will get a financial aid offer and a couple of months or a month and a half to consider your other options and do what is called an SIR, the statement of intent to register. When you do deliver your statement of intent to register, so when you have decided what school you're going to be enrolling in for your graduate program, it's at that point that you will have to provide official transcripts, which might be costing you between 20 to 40 bucks. And you can request those at your institution here at UCSC on the information provided. A little bit on the personal statement, it will showcase who you are as a person rather than what you want to study. And also, it's an opportunity where you might want to disclose that you are undocumented. There's another section where you will have to do that in the application where it's asking for your social security number or identifying information. But your personal statement can be an opportunity for you to unpack what it is about this undocumented lived experience that distinguishes you personally from other applicants. Perhaps you might include a hardship that you had to overcome and how you overcame that. So that will be the personal statement section. In addition, disclosing your status on the graduate application, as we mentioned, it's good to inform you that no federal law requires proof of citizenship when applying. However, some applications will ask you to select your citizenship status or list your citizenships if you have a citizenship in another country and whether you hold a US visa. At the time of you completing these steps in your application, if you ever want to solicit one of our opinions from other grads who have navigated this process and visit our office, we are very comfortable in speaking to you about this. Otherwise, we have some pointers here for you to come to that decision. When you provide this information to the school, it is also safeguarded by FERPA, which means that only court orders will have a school inform a judge of your citizenship status. Or, for example, direct information to the authorities. But in general, it's good to also take this opportunity to give the information that will align you with resources at that institution. Or for the school to consider how many undocumented students are coming to the institution so that they can also amplify the resources they offer others. Now, a little bit more on the statement of purpose. It will also align your research interest and your personal motivation on pursuing that field of study. And probably what is your overarching career goal, right? What sort of experience has shaped your personal trajectory, and what is it that you're going to gain from this department or from this program that will take you to the next step? It's an opportunity also. Think of every application component to not be repetitive. You're not going to say the same things in the statement of purpose than in the personal statement. And your letters of recommendation should also convey different information. And your writing sample, think of it as a complete comprehensive application where each component is going to be different. So just to recap, the statement of purpose is a little bit different than the personal statement, and the statement of purpose will showcase your research interest, your abilities, your prior experience, and how those align you as the perfect fit with that department.
Something I want to touch base on is the statement of purpose is essentially your academic journey to why you want to go to grad school and want to go to that specific program and the different faculty that you want to work with at that specific school. You want to write why this program was fit for you.
And why you're a good fit for that program.
Exactly.
Here's one sample statement from my application for the LALS department, in which I do start off a little bit by talking about undocumentedness in general or citizenship in general, and how that concept has been generally analyzed. And then I talk a little bit about how personally I have basically the lived experience to contribute something to reconceptualizing citizenship in general. And I go on to unpack a little bit of how professionally I have been aligned with providing services for undocumented folks, or explored multiple ways in which citizenship has taken impact in my life. And this is not a personal statement, this is a statement of purpose, but it's the way that I unpack how does my trajectory make me a good candidate for this department that has a keen focus on exploring citizenship, intersectionalities, identities, migration, and those perfectly align with my lived experience. I move on to talk about conceptually and theoretically what about my academic trajectory and other programs placed me in the path of considering this as the appropriate avenue, like things that other programs were limited by. This particular program that I'm applying to in this statement of purpose is more expansive. And so then I wrap up my statement of purpose with being very intentional and mentioning 3 faculty from that department whose works, uh, whose theoretical work has influenced my application to that department and why I would be a good fit with them. And lastly, how other affiliated programs, other affiliated researchers at the institution with this department can also serve to bridge disciplines. And so in general, this is what worked for me, but there are other ways to organize your statement of purpose. You don't want it to exceed 2 pages at most. And this is going to be, as one of my professors told me, the most important piece of writing that you're going to produce for the next 10 years, because this will make or break whether you get into, whether you get considered seriously for a cohort in a program, because it's the statement of purpose that aligns you with that department. And then it's your recommendations to see who is recommending you as a good fit, and your writing sample that get considered into, okay, let's move on to the transcripts, let's move on to the resume or CV. But it's generally the statement of purpose, the first component that will open your door to that department.
And as a current undergrad and someone who's applying for this cycle of graduate school, I've been currently using the Científico Latino resource for my grad school applications. I'll just have like a quick rundown of the website. It's more focused towards STEM majors. So as you can see here, they have everything from PhD application materials to undergrad, REU, internship, personal statement materials. I've personally been using it for their graduate school personal statement. So this is just a Google Sheet with a bunch of different schools and listed programs here. So if you want to go into, like, personally, I want to do environmental engineering. So right here, they have an environmental engineering program at an unknown institution, but this person got into the school with this statement. So they'll have their CV listed, other materials, their status when applying, and it's just a bunch of information. They even have some their contact information, their email. So if you want to specifically go into environmental engineering, you could email this person and ask what has their experience been like in the program, and any tips that they have. So you could just directly contact the people on this. They have everything from like astronomy to biology on here. It's just a really good resource to use when applying to grad school.
Excellent. Now, as we've mentioned before, the letters of recommendation are important. Some graduate programs might not require them at all, but others that are more rigorous and competitive or might offer you a better financial aid package will use these letters of recommendations to align you with particular funding sources. So even in general, if it's not a grad school that you're using a letter of rec at some point for a summer program, for an internship, or for a fellowship, letters of recommendation might be something you request. And so I want to share with you how that conversation can begin with the professor, employer, or internship supervisor, so that you can request a strong letter of rec confidently. So you want to email your professor ahead of time and speak to them during their office hours and telling them the conversation of requesting a letter of recommendation. In person, describe your intention behind asking for a letter and ask for advice. Perhaps this professor knows of a program where you might be a good fit, or particular fields where they're in conversation with and can inform you, and you might not know about them. After that, you want to email your professor the name of and deadline of your program, a list of the courses you took with them, what grade you received, whatever final exams or projects you produced, your unofficial transcripts, a copy of your statement of purpose, or a copy of your personal statement. And all of these materials will allow them to get more information into constructing a strong letter of recommendation. It will also be important for you to follow up and thank them for the work that they're doing. Remind them that you've sent them these materials and when your letter is due. So list it. You can follow this example of reaching out verbatim and just fill in your professor's names, attach your materials and the programs where you'll be applying. Depending on the department that you're applying to, they'll have a resume or CV option. Your resume will showcase work experience as opposed to your curriculum vitae, which is like a course of life in terms of your research or internships and fellowship experience that you have. It will also produce personal contact information, the degrees you've obtained, awards or publications you might have, particular projects or teaching interests that showcase your work and your skills. There are resources on campus. You can follow this live link for the UCSC Career Success Services, where they provide you a checklist of items to include, some samples to follow, or even a worksheet to fill in this information. And in the winter and spring, we will continue our Life After College series, where folks from the Career Success Services will provide some of these workshops tailored for undocumented folks at our resource centers.
The Career Success Service Center also offers appointments where they can an advisor can one-on-one help you write out your resume, give you live feedback on either your resume or CV or even your personal statement. I have personally used this resource various times, and it has been super helpful for applying to grad school. You can sign up for an appointment for the Career Success Services through Slug Success.
There are different testing requirements depending on the field you will be going to, as like the humanities and social sciences will require a GRE. For example, business administration or business analytics will require the GMAT, the LSAT for law school. It's important that you schedule these in advance so you can meet the deadlines of your application. When you complete these standardized tests for your application, they will send your scores to 3 schools included in your payment, and any additional schools that might require your scores, you might have to pay additionally for that. But do bear in mind that it is a good practice to bring your US driver's license or passport, a government issued ID, the original document that is valid with your full name, so that you can take your test, because what you don't want is to pay a little bit over $200 to $250 for these tests and have to reschedule it or lose your money altogether for not bringing identifying documents. For folks that are interested in law school, the test requires 5 sections for 35 minutes each, which test you on analytical reasoning, logical reasoning, reading comprehension, and a writing sample. We cover more information, but we just do want to mention that there is a free LSAT prep test through Khan Academy. Some more detail into the LSAT sections for you. And lastly, just wanted to touch briefly on the post-bachelor options that Career Success has for you. If you're interested in a program where you're in this in-between level of undergraduate and graduate, where you might have to do some prereqs to make you a better candidate for your application, or say, for example, you're going to pursue the field of medicine, UCSC has established now a post-batch option through UCSC extension, and there's more information about that. Please visit. If you're considering grad school and need to do some prereqs, maybe post batches for you. And lastly, we covered some of these resources before on navigating grad school. The My Undocumented Life blog is one of the best resources you can have for all things grad school. Pre-health dreamers for folks interested in medicine. And please do complete your California Dream Act application, because even though the department is the institution that particularly will fund you and not the university, the California Dream Act application might still serve as a document for you to show that you have an EFC where you need funds and support from the institution. And maybe there's scholarships where you can render your California Dream Act application, or state programs that do align you with state funds. So do complete your California Dream Act application and visit Immigrants Rising. They do provide grad school scholarships and fellowships options. And lastly, the Santa Clara Law Digital Commons has a resource guide on navigating graduate school, everything from immigration law and policy to testing requirements, state to state differences, what is different from one state to another state. We did offer last seminar and resource that does the same, but this is an addendum to that.
Thank you for coming to the Life After College Meeting the Deadlines workshop. If you have any questions or would like to speak to us directly, either Juan or I, this is the EOP email. And then also our EOP, this is a link to our website, which has all of the resources we have provided today. And then this QR code is just an evaluation form for the workshop. And we'd like to thank you for coming. And have a great rest of your day.